Now, look, everyone, I'm sure, has a very strong opinion about Bob De Niro. He is one of the great actors of our time. I would never take that away from him in terms of his ability to entertain. That's what he does. He is an actor, but he also thinks that he is somehow more than an actor in the sense that he has a pulse on where the average American is today regarding their political discourse, but he doesn't. He is an extremely affluent, connected individual. He has been for a very long time. He clearly does not like Trump on a personal level. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But he also believes that everything is perfectly fine with President Biden, and we have to stay the course, no matter how bad things are, because it will only get worse with Trump. Well, whose fault is that? Whose fault is it that we're stuck where we are? Bob doesn't want to talk about that. He just wants to talk about how bad Trump is and how much he wants us to get away from him in November, despite what the numbers are saying. Oh, and also to influence potential judicial outcomes, which is the reason that he went to Lower Manhattan the other day to make this statement, which we're going to play now.
It's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street, because he doesn't belong in my city. I don't.
Your city, Bob. The city doesn't belong to you. People can go wherever the hell they want. That level of ignorance, it's incredible. And I always say, if you want to know what really hurts the Democrat, I mean, listen, the Democratic Party is almost beyond repair at this point. However, if there is one thing I can say that truly turns voters off, it's rich liberals waxing poetic about what you, the working person, needs. And Bob De Niro is one of the very worst. We'll continue.
I don't know where he belongs, but he surely doesn't belong here. We New Yorkers used to tolerate him when he was just another grubby real estate hustler masquerading as a big shot. A two-bit playboy lying his way into the tabloids, pretending to be a spokesperson for himself.
What does this have to do with anything? De Niro talking about Trump on a personal level, that Trump is a sleazebag. Yeah, Trump is sleazy. This is not like a new concept. There isn't this new information that's being presented. Boy, oh boy, if you only knew. It really says a lot. We'll agree to disagree on that one, Andrew. There's nothing, like I said, there's nothing wrong with hating Trump, but this is on a whole other level because Bob De Niro does not identify with the average person. Bob De Niro does wear lifts in his shoes. We'll continue.
He was calling it as himself for himself to fool the press into inflating his net worth. A clown. But this city is pretty accommodating. We make room for clowns.
Now, apparently, one was trying to interpret that what he was saying regarding clowns was that he was calling all Trump supporters clowns. I don't think so. I think he was just identifying Trump as one. That may change. I haven't heard all of what he had to say, but we will continue and see if there was anything in particular where he really went and took a direct shot at the Trump vote.
Have them all over the city. People who do crazy things in the street, we tolerate it. It's part of the city. It's part of the culture, but not a person like Trump who will eventually run the country. That does not work, and we all know that.
So what are you selling, Bob? I think is the question. If you're selling Joe Biden and this current administration, you're not winning. This is the thing that so many people in politics fail to learn. And it's also something that has become a really big problem over the past several elections. Yes, that is Rupert Pupkin, Henry. For those of you who haven't seen The King of Comedy, it's actually a very interesting movie. I would recommend it. I would definitely say that if there was an alternative that made sense, this wouldn't be a contest. If it was Bernie Sanders going up against Trump right now, Bernie would win. But that's not what we're dealing with here. What we're dealing with is a broken republic being led by an administration that is not helping the average person. They're just not. There's a few policies sprinkled in here and there. Very good pick, like my music. And that is the end of the clip. Midnight Run, if you haven't seen that film, is one of the best movies I've ever seen. And I saw that when I was very young. Probably one of the first R-rated movies I ever saw. And obviously it had a lot to do with the cursing. And yes, Bernie would wipe the floor with Trump. But there's a reason why. Because this is about whether you're bought and paid for by the system, which Bernie, again, you could say he's adjacent in some respects as far as his loyalty to Joe and the Democratic Party and the way that he was willing to play the role he thinks he needs to play in order to stop Trump. I'm sorry, pal, but it doesn't work that way. And the reason it doesn't work that way is because no matter how bad you think Trump is, what he basically is a complete gift to the corporate establishment for them to basically go carte blanche on all the worst heavy-handed shit that you could possibly think of, because at the end of the day, what they're counting on is the fear of Trump, and that is what is ultimately going to make the difference at the polls in November. I don't agree.